Why, hello there. Why don't you join me today while we talk about this brand new Halloween triple feature Blu-ray. But in actuality, is it really that new? Let's find out.
Now on home video.
Hey everyone, Ryan Reed here, and today I wanted to do a video discussing this new Halloween triple feature that just recently came out. It came out on September 22nd of this year, 2020. And there's a reason I wanted to discuss this Blu-ray. Recently I had started planning a new video, and I just picked this up, and it's got some interesting elements to it that I thought were worth discussing, or at least bringing up in case you were considering getting this little triple feature yourself, so that way you're kind of aware of what's going on. Now, this right here is a triple feature that contains Halloween H2O, contains The Curse of Michael Myers, which is the film that came before that, obviously, and it contains Halloween Resurrection. And this type of set is nothing new. These movies have been packaged together for quite a while now. But this is a new kind of re-release of that. In case you're unaware with the history of the Halloween movies, in terms of their release, we're not going to go into detail about the movies themselves, but if you're unaware of the way that these films were released, pretty much all the movies are kind of scattered across multiple companies that own them. For one, you've got Anchor Bay that owns, I think, the rights to the first, the fourth, and the fifth movie still. The second and the third film are owned by Universal and are often licensed out to Shout Factory or Scream Factory to make awesome collector's editions of those movies. And then you've got The Curse of Michael Myers, you've got Halloween H2O, and you've got Halloween Resurrection, which are all owned by Dimension or released by Dimension, which Dimension is just kind of like a sub-distribution company name for MIRAMAX. And then after that, you've got Halloween, the Rob Zombie one, and Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie sequel, and then you've got Halloween 2018. And that film, Halloween 2018, I believe is produced by Blumhouse, and I believe it's owned or released by Universal, as far as like DVDs or things of that nature. But I wanted to bring up this triple feature specifically because these set of movies, these three movies, have a weird release history. All the Halloween movies kind of do. We've seen re-releases after re-releases after re-releases over and over. There's various special features for certain ones. There's, different transfers, all kinds of stuff. And so buying a Halloween movie is not exactly the easiest thing in the world. Now, it's these three films to me that have the most interesting release history. Basically, when they came out on DVD, originally, they were released by MIRAMAX, by Dimension. You get the special. They used to make those giant clamshell DVDs, the ones that are super thick. But as far as future releases and Blu-ray releases, those came out originally from a company called Echo Bridge Entertainment. And if you're not familiar with Echo Bridge is the company that if you ever look in the bargain bin at a Walmart or something and you see 25 movies for $5, probably it comes from Echo Bridge. They're not exactly a company with the greatest record in terms of film transfers or releases. They like to cram in as much as possible, but the plus side is that you do tend to get bargain deals. And in 2011, MIRAMAX made a deal with Echo Bridge to release 251 of their titles onto DVD and Blu-ray. Some of those titles included Halloween H2O, Curse of Michael Myers, and Halloween Resurrection. Curse of Michael Myers, I don't know if it ever got, I believe it did get an official Blu-ray release on its own, but I know for sure that Halloween H2O and Halloween Resurrection both got separate Blu-ray releases from Echo Bridge. And Echo Bridge is not really known for their special features. However, the Halloween Resurrection Blu-ray that they did release did have audio commentary, things like that. The Curse of Michael Myers and H2O were both bare bones Blu-rays, and more often, before they started doing this triple feature, you saw H2O and Curse of Michael Myers packaged together as one thing. Now, originally how I owned these three films was via a 4-pack DVD called the MIRAMAX Psycho Killer series, and it included Curse of Michael Myers, H2O, Resurrection, and a movie called Mother's Boys, which I never watched. I bought the set because I was trying to complete my Halloween DVD collection. So this is probably around 2012, somewhere around there, which was shortly after the Echo Bridge releases started coming out. And for a long time, Curse of Michael Myers was really hard to find. The other ones you could find fairly easily, but that one was a tough one to kind of track down on DVD. And Personally, I am a fan of Curse of Michael Myers. I know that the movie has major flaws and a lot of people don't like it for some of the plot elements that happen within it and the kind of weird turn it takes and everything. But that being said, even the theatrical release of the film, I do enjoy. It's not a great movie, it's not a perfect movie, but there's something about it that I still like. Donald Pleasance is still in it, so he's enjoyable. There's just something about that film that kind of works for me, even though I can see all of the flaws. However, the other two films, Halloween H2O and Resurrection, I am not a fan of. I think most people tend to agree that Halloween Resurrection is not a good movie. The best part of the film is Busta Rhymes being in the movie. Other than that, the movie's just kind of a mess, and it doesn't really work. H2O was a film that, when it came out, it was pretty, did pretty well with critics, and a lot of fans liked it. It basically retconned everything that had happened from 3, which didn't tie into anything anyway, 4, 5, and 6, and basically started, from Halloween 2 onward. But it's never been a movie I was particularly a fan of. There's something about it I don't like. I always felt like it was just kind of a paycheck movie, which later on Jamie Lee Curtis did say something that basically, I'm summarizing, but basically she said, the film started out with good intentions, but essentially it became a paycheck movie for her. And that's kind of how I always felt. The movie just doesn't work as a whole. It's okay. It's not bad, but it's never one that I'd go back to and watch all the time. Halloween 4, even Halloween 5, those are movies, sequels that I can watch multiple times during the Halloween season. Halloween H2O was like a one-time watch, and I'm like, all right, that was fine. I'll put it on in the background. So I've never been a big fan of it. So the reason I bought this pack was I was trying to complete my DVD collection of the Halloween films. I had them all except for those 3. Well, there was always a problem with Echo Bridge's releases, particularly with Halloween H2O. The main issue that people had with this film was the transfer of the movie used the wrong aspect ratio. Now, for anybody who's not familiar, I'm guessing if you're watching this and you know about Blu-rays and DVDs and things like that, you're probably well aware of what aspect ratio is. But just in case you're not, whenever you shoot a film, you shoot it in widescreen. You don't always, traditionally some directors have gone and shot things in different formats and things like that, but your basic movie comes out in a widescreen format, and it does so in a couple different aspect ratios, what we call it. There's your standard 16:9, which is a widescreen, and it's what we're pretty much filming on right now. Typically, the technical term for it is 1.78 to 1, and that's just the height to width ratio of it. Sometimes you'll get a 1.85 to 1, which is just a slightly more wide shot, but ultimately it's not that different. There's 178 to 185 are pretty similar in terms of their aspect ratio. Now, a lot of films, if you want it to be more cinematic, or what they used to call CinemaScope, now they just refer to it as scope. If you want your film to have scope and have a more wide shot, gives you a more dynamic look. Typically, you're going to be shooting in something that's more of a 2.35 to 1, all the way to typically the normal numbers are 2.35 to 1, all the way to 2.40 to 1. There are, varying degrees in between, and a little bit more, a little bit less, but those are typically your big formats. You're either shooting in 16:9 or you're shooting in a wider shot. Now, the reason we're talking about this is because H2O was originally a film that was meant for a 2:9 aspect ratio. Imagine the image we're looking at right now, this shot here on the video that you're watching. We're looking at a 16:9, 1.78, more than likely ratio. Now, when you break that down, and if you want to shoot something to have a different aspect ratio, you might shoot it on a film stock back when they used film, which they did for Halloween, these couple of Halloween films. You might shoot it on what's called Super 35, which is a type of film where basically you're shooting a wider image, kind of like this, kind of fits a 16:9, but you're going to essentially crop it or cover it to fit that aspect ratio. So if you're looking at this image here, this is a 16:9, a 2:35 ratio scope might look something more like this. So basically, you're changing your aspect ratio a little bit because maybe the director and the director of photography want the image to have a certain look. You want it to look a little wider, you want it to look a little bit more cinematic, you want to frame things a certain way so that way your eyes as the audience are drawn to certain things. There's a lot of reasons to use this aspect ratio. Well, when you shoot Super 35, the interesting thing about it is that you don't have to crop it. In some types of film, if you shoot it a different way, when you crop it, that information doesn't exist. There's nothing above and below those black lines. But in Super 35, you're essentially looking at it like this, like the way this shot is. There's more headroom above, there's a little bit more information below as well of the frame. Halloween H2O, when released by Echo Bridge, for some reason, was released in an open matte format. Open matte just essentially means those black bars that the director of photography and the director put there to give it that more cinematic look. They removed it, and so the way that the film is framed is not the way it's supposed to. Now, if you didn't know this, if you're not a major film, buff or anything like that, if you were just looking at the film, chances are you wouldn't notice anything. If you do study film, or you're, aware of technical aspects of filmmaking, or if you had an old, H2O DVD to compare it to, you would notice that there's some shots where there's a little bit more, too much headroom above the actor's head because the director was framing it a certain way. Typically when they're filming, they can look at a monitor and figure out, okay, this is the aspect ratio right here. We know how this image is going to look once we letterbox the image. And for some reason, that's the version that Echo Bridge released, which makes absolutely no sense. And it's something that everybody was always talking about. There is some image quality issues and things like that, but no matter if you bought it on DVD or if you bought it on Blu-ray or whatever, H2O was always presented in the incorrect aspect ratio. Resurrection, however, was not. Resurrection was originally released in its proper format in the 2:3:5 ratio, and no problems there. That is until Echo Bridge released essentially this. Now, this is a triple feature. Now, this is not an Echo Bridge release, but we'll get to that later on. But they released something that looks almost identical to this, and it came from Echo Bridge. And essentially, when they put all three of these movies onto one Blu-ray, for some reason, Halloween Resurrection was also presented in an open matte format. Nobody knows why, considering in their previous Blu-ray releases, they presented it in the proper aspect ratio. So why did they not just take that transfer and put it on this Blu-ray? It's very baffling. Nobody's quite sure why, and honestly, I'm not even sure if Echo Bridge knows why. But for a long time, if you wanted these movies on Blu-ray, that was the only way to get them. Now, to be fair, is open matte the worst thing in the world? No, it's not. Now, is it annoying for someone who's into filmmaking or into film in general? Yes, it is. Because it's not the way that the director intended you to watch the movie. The director framed it in a way so that way the image is the way you're supposed to be seeing it and viewing the film. Once you put it into an open matte, it changes the way that the film is presented. Things that maybe aren't supposed to be in the shot are in the shot. You can reveal things early. There's all kinds of reasons why open matte can be a problem. So of course, fans of the series were always bugged by this. It never bugged me too much, again, because H2O was not my favorite movie. It's been a while since I watched that old DVD, so I'm unclear if Resurrection was presented in the proper aspect ratio. I honestly don't remember anymore, but I believe it was on the DVD I had, but I'm not 100%. But I do know, after doing some research, that the triple feature Echo Bridge released did not have the correct aspect ratio for either Halloween Resurrection or Halloween H2O. But all of that changed in September of 2014 when Anchor Bay and Scream Factory and all these companies got together and decided that they would be able to release the Ultimate Halloween Collection, the Halloween Complete Collection, I believe is what they called it. And it was a box set containing every movie up to that point, up through Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, because obviously Halloween 2018 was not out yet. So all the movies up to that point were released on Blu-ray. And in that Blu-ray set, you did get Halloween H2O in the proper aspect ratio, and you did get Resurrection in the proper aspect ratio, both of them containing bonus features that they'd never had before, and all kinds of nifty stuff. Now, if you watch the Phantasm video I did, similar to this one, you know that I do not have the best luck when it comes to buying complete collections. And the Halloween collection was no exception, although this one, unlike the Phantasm, where they're limited releases, this one is my fault. So they put out two versions of this collection. There was the limited edition 15-disc version, which came with a bunch of extra bonus stuff. And it came with what was the biggest draw to me, the producer's cut of Halloween 6, Halloween the Curse of Michael Myers. They also did a 10-disc version, which just came with all of the movies on Blu-ray and with bonus features and all kinds of stuff. So the limited edition went out of stock pretty quick. But the 10-disc edition stuck around for years. And every Halloween, the 10-disc edition would come out and, I'd see it on a shelf and I'd be like, maybe I'll save up some money and I'll buy that. Maybe I'll finally upgrade them. And then Halloween would pass and I didn't do it. And that would happen every year, until finally they just stopped making it and it doesn't exist anymore unless you want to pay crazy high prices online. That's my bad. I should have bought it sooner, but I didn't. From a collecting standpoint and as a fan of Halloween, it is a bummer that I'm not able to buy that, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world. We'll come to this year, 2020. I decided to finally start upgrading my Halloween collection to be all Blu-ray. I had a few on Blu-ray, like I said, the Rob Zombie films, and I just recently got the Scream Factory version of Halloween 2 on Blu-ray. And on top of that, in 2015, Lionsgate actually released a Blu-ray version of Halloween 6, the producer's cut, which did not have any special features, but it was the producer's cut on its own Blu-ray disc. What would eventually ended up happening is that Echo Bridge lost the rights to release those Halloween films, and those rights went over to Paramount Home Media Distribution. And so they started re-releasing all of these films, not just the Halloween movies, but a lot of these other sets on Blu-ray. That's when I stumbled across this right here, the new version of the triple feature release containing Halloween H2O, Curse of Michael Myers, and Resurrection. And again, right now, just looking to upgrade to Blu-ray. This is the only Blu-ray release. If you look online, those Echo Bridge releases go for crazy high amounts considering they were budget releases. Now they go for like 60, 70 bucks, if not more sometimes. And on top of that, the versions that Scream Factory put out in the collection of H2O and Resurrection never came out on their own. So all those features are only available in the collection, which, as we talked about, is now out of print. So this was my best bet. I found out that Paramount was going to be releasing this on September 22nd of this year, and I thought, maybe this will be the time. Paramount, you can do this. You can do this right. All you gotta do, you gotta add some mats to the top and the bottom. You just gotta fix that aspect ratio. Did they do it? No! This disc is literally the exact same as the Echo Bridge release. How do I know that? Because at the end of each movie, when the movie is done playing, it says Echo Bridge Entertainment. It comes up with their logo. Paramount literally just repackaged the exact same disc. They even used the exact same art. I thought maybe they were just using it for, the simplicity of it. This is literally the exact same Blu-ray disc with now the Paramount logo on it, except for instead of Echo Bridge on the spine. So, when you look at the movies, again, Curse of Michael Myers is fine. I was taking a look at it briefly last night, skimming through it. Again, I don't really watch the theatrical cut anymore. I mainly watch the producer's cut, so that's not as big a deal. But H2O and Resurrection are both presented in the incorrect aspect ratio. They're both open matte versions of the film. And currently, as far as I know, this is still the only way to get those two movies, those three movies actually, the theatrical cut of Curse as well, on Blu-ray. And so unless Paramount's going to be releasing them later on, this is the only way to do that. And that is baffling to me. You would think that maybe, Scream Factory would have released them as separate discs at some point, but no. No difference whatsoever. This is the exact same disc. Now, is this the worst thing in the world? No. Here's the thing. The image quality is a step up from the DVD I was watching. That old DVD was absolutely terrible. I thought because of the amount of fan backlash that these releases, received, I thought Paramount would maybe go in and at least fix them. All they have to do is put the proper 235 matte letterbox onto the film. That's all they have to do. They don't have to change a single other thing about it and they'd be fine. But they didn't do that. So here's the reason I wanted to do this. Here's the lesson for everybody out there. Here's a little thing I wanted to kind of talk about. If you are like me and you don't really care for these movies, but you know these particular ones, but you want to own them to complete the collection on Blu-ray, this isn't bad. Maybe, you know, it's still a budget release. I bought it for $12.99. I think it retails for like $15. But it's on sale as of right now, as of this recording. It's on sale on Amazon for $12.99. It was on sale at Best Buy for $12.99. You know, $12.99 for 3 movies, upgrading to Blu-ray. The image quality is significantly better. We're not losing any information on the image. It's just framed incorrectly. Not the worst thing in the world. Is it dumb? Yeah. Yes. It's very dumb. I didn't expect much from this release, but for Paramount to literally just put their logo on the box with a few minor changes, like a little thing that says digital movies included, you know, but change nothing else about it, including the fact that it has the Echo Bridge logo at the end of each movie, it's just baffling. And these movies, as much as I don't like them, they really do deserve better releases than that. I think every movie at least deserves to be presented in the proper aspect ratio that it was intended for. And these movies don't even get that. So, kind of a mess. Moral of the story. Buy this if you want to complete your collection, or if you don't really care for these movies, or if you're not big into aspect ratios and you don't really care. If you are a film fan, and maybe you really love H2O, I don't know anybody who loves Halloween Resurrection, but maybe there's somebody out there. You know, let me know in the comments if you really like Busta Rhymes, you know, karate kicking Michael Myers. If that's what you enjoy, please let me know. But this is an improvement if you just have these movies on old DVDs, and I know some of the old DVDs that were released from Dimension and stuff weren't even anamorphic, meaning they didn't fit to TV, so they were in widescreen, but then they were in a square within the TV. Just a mess. These are a good step up. The image quality is significantly better, but it's still not right. It's still not right. I don't know how they managed that one. But if you enjoyed this video and you want to see something similar when I kind of break down some movie releases, some DVD and Blu-ray releases, check out my video on the Phantasm films. I'll leave the link in the description for that as well. Plus, you can check out some of my other stuff. If you're into horror movies, check out Fright Films. It's my horror movie analytical show. You can check out Impromptu Reviews, which is just my off the top of my head kind of review show. You can also check out all my food reviews and all kinds of interesting stuff. I've got some artwork videos up as well. All kinds of stuff across the channel. So take a look. If you like this video and want to see more, please subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.